Assalamu alaikum and welcome to this evening's mini lecture, which is entitled Should Women Worry About Weight? I appreciate those who have jumped on via Zoom and also those who are live in my clubhouse room. My club name is Easy Health Gains. And you can find me under the username Organic All Round or just my name, which is Faria. So I'm Faria. I'm a health and wellness coach, and I specialize in empowering women and letting them realize just how easy healthy eating can be. Without the struggle, without the hassle of thinking about what to make for dinner, whether it's healthy or not, and just standing in the kitchen for ages. And also making you realize that when you do take steps towards bettering your health and a healthy eating lifestyle, it doesn't have to be difficult at all. And I'm also very passionate about creating confident little eaters because I believe once mom is on that journey, inshallah, it's not very far behind that her children will follow, inshallah. Maybe not straight away, maybe there'll be a bit of struggle, but they will get there. And they do soak up so much of what we put across. I mean, maybe more of what we do rather than what we say. And this is really important in terms of weight. The way that we talk about ourselves, especially if we have like teenagers, like girls, I think they tend to kind of become a little bit obsessive about this. I have 4 girls, Allahumma barik, and they're at that stage now of hitting their teens, and we have to be mindful about what we say about our own bodies and about our relationship with food, because they pick up on that very, very quickly. So women and weight. Now, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts as I'm going through this. What kind of worries do you have about weight? Do you worry at all? Is it something that you find, that you hear around you, maybe from social media, maybe from your relatives, that it's almost of an obsessive level? Because look, let's face it, in today's world, women, they're faced with a whole host of things to bear, right? Not only do we have to manage the home, sometimes there's work, there's our relationships with our husbands, with our children. There is a lot riding on the modern woman, and it might be, from the way she looks, the way she handles things. Women, I think today are I feel constantly bombarded. And possibly one of the most worrying trends in the health world is for would be the focus on women. And you may look at all these healthy eating or fitness channels, and you'll see this woman who is almost deficient of any body fat, right? She's got this tan skin, she's got no body fat, and she's got these abs. Okay, and it's this push of the woman to be in these yoga pants and doing these daily strenuous workouts, and that's put up as the ideal. That's put up in front of our teens, and this kind of thing. And the reality is that this isn't exactly the way that we want to go, because a six-pack and a low body fat percentage may well be a sign of optimal health in men, because it actually reflects healthy testosterone levels. But for women to actually achieve a body looking like that, it requires a lot of exertion, okay, a lot, and it requires a loss of body fat that could actually stop them from menstruating. Okay, you're pushing yourself to that extreme, right, to make yourself look a certain way, because everything around you, everyone in society is saying, hey, this is the way we should be, right? Why would this be harmful then? Well, being fertile and having that very balanced level in terms of their menses is actually a sign of health in women. Okay. So, you know, when women strive for this unnatural body, they actually could be risking something that is more essential to their health and well-being. And you know, you don't realize that. You think, well, you know, I do want to look strong. I do want to look slim. I do want to, you know, lose this weight. This is how I want to look. And so they push themselves. They push themselves in the gyms, right? They push themselves in these workouts without really having that understanding of this could affect my cycle. Okay. So this isn't to say that women shouldn't lift weights, or you know, they should seek to obtain a body that is, you know, what's the word, like trim and healthy looking. Okay. But there needs to be some guidance around this. There's not just like a cookie cutter size and say, hey, all women need to look like this. Okay. Because these images that women and teens, they're constantly bombarded with, social media, advertising, you know, books, magazines, whatever it is, you know, with this stick thin body with little to no fat, and they're told, hey, you know what, this is beautiful, this is what beauty is. But the truth of the matter is, right, if a woman gets her body fat down to about 12% or less, it is very likely that her monthly cycles will stop. Okay. And you know, that healthy weight and fat is so important for women. You know, it's there for a reason. Allah created us there, created us in this way for a reason. One of the important reasons is that it enables us to carry children, to have a successful pregnancy, right? Nowadays, that you talk to many women, and it's not even rare to hear women talk about fertility issues. It's a huge problem. You know, either struggling to conceive or having recurrent miscarriages. And I can vouch for that myself. I've had 3 miscarriages. So, you know, it's not an issue that you hardly hear about. When I was younger, amongst the generation of my mother and like her family and extended relatives and this kind of thing, you would hear of it. You'd hear, oh, such and such had a miscarriage, this kind of thing. But it wasn't as commonplace as it is now. Okay. And that's for a variety of reasons, of course. Okay. But this fascination and this whole thing around women has been around for some time. So, you know, if she has hips or she has curves, it's like frowned upon almost. But those hips and curves are actually healthy and normal for women. That weight that she has stored in her chest, in her hips, and in her bottom, those areas, they are actually typically higher in omega-3 fats. So what does that mean? That means you're going to be creating, inshallah, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, healthier children. And where you have to worry is where that fat is in the abdomen. Okay, that is usually high in omega-6, and that is usually an indication, not always, of visceral fat. Okay, and that you tend to basically put on weight in that area as a result of stress and as a result of having an excess of male hormones in your body. And you'll find today, you know, all these weight loss programs, you know, all these diet pills, all these promises that you hear. This market geared towards women specifically is worth millions and millions. Okay, because look, let's face it, some women, they do absolutely obsess over their weight. You know, they wake up in the morning, they're not happy with themselves, they're constantly touching their stomach, pinching their sides, you know, putting something on and looking at themselves from all different angles and like, you know, do I look fat in this kind of thing, right? It's got to that level, right? You know, and the fashion industry doesn't obviously help. You know, we are encouraged to wear tight clothes which show us from every angle. Okay, and you know, it's just a huge problem, I feel. And when you're in that kind of mindset and in that kind of feeling not very good about yourself, it hits your self-confidence, right? It affects the way you kind of move. It affects how you eat. It affects how you even carry yourselves in social gatherings, amongst family, even in your home. So it's not a small thing, when a woman has these weight issues and these even perceived, erroneous issues about her weight, that she really starts to obsess over, that she really starts to unnecessarily take steps and strides towards it that could actually be harming her. And this is seriously worrying, especially for our young girls, and our teens who obviously need to start preparing their bodies, inshallah, ta'ala, to bear children. And then they get to a stage where they don't have any of this fat anymore. And it's so important, to be able to successfully carry children. And society around us doesn't actually help. Society around us doesn't push us to think, this is the right way to look. And when you're so preoccupied with looks, there's all these things like that are put out there. Hey, that's pretty privilege, or all these jokes about being overweight. It doesn't help us at all. Okay, now what you have to understand, hand in hand with this weight issue also comes the diet culture. Okay, and a lot of them, they focus on depriving your body from what it actually really needs. Okay, now many of us are different sizes. Okay, many of us are different heights. So you could have 2 women, maybe even 10 women, all weighing exactly the same. But when you look at them, they will all look very different. One may look overweight, one may look like she has curves, one may look like she's quite slim. So standing on a scale and looking at a number isn't a very good judgment of your weight in that sense. Okay, and what is healthy for you. Okay, and this is where it's important, because women who tend to obsess about this tend to also fall into this diet culture pretty easily. And depriving your body from what it needs is only going to bring you harm long term. Okay, what women need to do is actually focus on a nutrient dense, whole food way of eating. Okay, and you need to use exercise for health, to make yourself feel good, and to do strength training, not as something that is a punishment. Or I binged on donuts, right? Okay, let's get to the gym for a couple of hours, sweat it all off. Shouldn't be like that. Okay, there shouldn't be no guilt associated with food. No, sis, there's no slides this evening. Barakallah fiki. So taking real steps, towards whole food ingredients, going back to the basics, cooking things from scratch. All of these small steps are going to help you. And 2 really, really important things that would even help you effortlessly lose weight would be to optimize your sleep and to reduce stress. I mean, the nutrition side that I've been studying, I was looking at a topic, and the recent topic that I covered was related to sleep and stress. And it was just absolutely fascinating, like just how important it can be for your body. I mean, just inshallah, I've covered this before, but I really want to go back to it, inshallah, and do a little deep dive, because it's just amazing. I mean, one study looked at, they basically got 2 groups of people, and they gave them the same kind of food, this kind of thing. The only difference that they did with the 2 groups was, one of them, they told them, right, okay, this has to be the amount of time you sleep, whatever X amount of hours it was, and the other group had less, right? They didn't change anything in terms of what they ate or how their movement looked. Okay, and obviously everyone's body is different in these kind of tests, and we understand that. But the thing that was amazing was that without changing anything, in terms of what they ate or what they did, 55% of those in the control group that optimized their sleep actually lost fat, not weight. They actually lost fat from their body. So sometimes, we think, oh my God, I need to do X, Y, and Z to get this weight off me. Whereas if we just start to optimize our sleep, it would happen almost effortlessly. And the other thing is stress, because look, let's face it, we have a lot going on in the day, right? Some of us might run businesses, some of us might have really busy jobs, some of us have, small children, husbands, right? There's so much going on. And that can sometimes obviously get on top of us. But if we have protocols, or we have things that we do that help us reduce stress, it could be as simple as breathing exercises, right? 5-10 minutes in the morning, or 5-10 minutes in the evening, or when you just feel like everything's getting on top of you, just pause and take 10 deep breaths. Stress management can be absolutely profound for you. And you have to remember that when you are stressed, you don't digest your food very well, right? Your body is not thinking about, okay, let's deal with this meal that we've just eaten. Your body's thinking about the stressful situation that it finds itself in, okay? And you're going to elevate your cortisol levels. That's your fight and flight mode, okay? So your body's not thinking about, anything that's important: sleep, digestion, extracting, helping go to the bathroom, all these things. They're not important. So once you're actually calm and you've taken deep breaths, you're doing things to de-stress, your body's like, okay, there's no lion chasing me. There's no, big worry for me to be thinking about right now. I can do what I need to do. I can go and digest that food easily. I can go and, deal with things in the body simply, right? So it's really, really important. And those two things we can easily do. It's not gonna cost you anything to start going to bed 15 minutes earlier every day until you reach an optimal time for yourself. That's not gonna cost you anything. It's not gonna cost you anything to take 10 deep, diaphragm breaths, right? It's just going to take you a matter of doing it, okay? And this is why I have these bite-sized sessions every Saturday evening, especially geared towards busy moms who have kids, or those who are just busy. And I want to give you practical information, inshallah, that you can take away today and implement today and see an improvement. So if you do benefit, please share the information with your loved ones, and let them know that we are live here every Saturday evenings, 6 p.m. UK time. Right, okay, so taking those steps, right? Sleep and stress, okay? And what we have to understand is, as a woman, we go through a lot more changes hormonally than men, right? So we're going to have times of us having weight and then losing it and this kind of thing. And maybe before we had kids, we may have a more athletic body, we may have looked slightly slender, this kind of thing. But going through that process of bearing a child for 9 months, then giving birth, then nursing, that took a huge amount of effort, okay? And that's not something to be belittled. So if you now have this body because you've carried 3-4 children, maybe more, maybe less, you've still done something amazing. You've still done something that you should be really proud of. You have your beautiful children, alhamdulillah, and they are a huge blessing. So don't put that aside. And maybe you've gone through miscarriages too. And that is obviously going to have had an impact on your body, and your body is going to look different, right? The size and shape, is going to be not as it was when you first got married, okay? But that doesn't mean, that you cannot take steps towards like a healthier you, right? And it might be that before you got married, or in your early years of marriage, that you were more indulgent in junk food and you weren't really concerned about your health as much. And now you've had children, and you are more aware of things that are better serving you and your health. And so your body may look slightly different, but this might be a more healthier version of you, right? So we really need to challenge this narrative of stick thin women, and embrace the natural curves that that we've actually been blessed with. I mean, if you think about maybe like in the 1940s and the 1950s, what kind of image they were projecting of women compared to now, you know that they were women who had more curves, right? They weren't really stick thin women, okay? And they certainly weren't women with abs, okay? So let's focus on more movement, whatever that is for you, whatever you enjoy doing, and strength training that actually has a positive impact on us, okay? Because when you're doing that kind of thing, you're actually going to strengthen your bones. So when you do get older, inshallah, you'll be stronger, okay? And don't think about hours and hours of daily cardio, for example. That can be really difficult on the body long term, okay? And let us also do away with this enormous fixation, like I mentioned, the diet culture, and that goes hand in hand with low fat and zero sugar foods, okay? Because these are not serving us. These are not giving us what we actually need, okay? There isn't one perfect size or body type that all women should aspire to be, okay? What we should be having an aspiration for is optimal health. And optimal health isn't just not having a sickness, not being ill, right? Optimal health means that you're actually thriving. We as women, we always hear about the latest food diet, weight loss, these drinks, these pills, these shakes, and sometimes we just jump on these bandwagons thinking they're going to have a huge effect on us, and thinking that it will actually transform us overnight. It's better that we actually take small steps towards a healthy lifestyle than doing these things that are short term. And this is the problem with women. They'll jump on something, they'll do it for a while, and then guess what? They'll jump on the scales. No result, no change. What do? They give it up. And sometimes, women tend to do that with their healthy eating journey too. They'll say, hey, you know what? Okay, let me try and give up sugar. They do it. They struggle. They do it. And they maybe tried it for a week, a couple of weeks, and they thought they've done really well. And then they jump on the scales and they're disheartened, or someone says something to the opposite effect, like, oh, it looks like you put weight on. And that's it. They'll be like, well, what's the point of this? Right? And so connected to something like that would be, then they would be just flip themselves on the opposite side and actually deep dive into binge eating, right? So it's really, really important for us to look at our relationship with food, at the relationship we have with ourselves, and take those steps. And it doesn't have to be like a cold turkey dip, into healthy eating, and we just chuck everything away, that's in our fridge. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be slow, gradual steps, inshallah, in the right direction, but steps that are going to be consistent, and steps that you're not going to suddenly fall back on, right? So it could literally be a small improvement every day. And, maybe sometimes you do need that kickstart, right? So you do need that support. And alhamdulillah, I've seen the ladies that have jumped on to my 5-day resets. And so literally 5 days, okay? So in 5 days, they've been supported. They've been given recipes. They've been given a protocol, exactly what to do, not having to worry about any of that. They've been given almost everything they need. And they also have support. They also have someone holding their hand. They also have someone that they can quickly ask a question to, in terms of, okay, what about this? Should I do this or not? Should I eat this or not? Okay. And with that kind of support in a short span of time, 5 days, you can actually have a noticeable change. And that's what you want. You want that small win to realize, hold on a second, you know what? I can actually do this long term, right? And with support and with guidance, you absolutely can, inshallah. And this is what it's about, even with my own family's journey, it wasn't something that we did overnight, and it's still something that we're working on right now. And this is what optimal health is about. It's about taking steps in the right direction. Does this mean that you can never ever eat unhealthy food again? Does this mean you can never have, donuts or ice cream or chocolate? No, it doesn't mean that. We have to understand that you know, food is something that is enjoyed, right? Food is something that we have as a family together. Food is to do with our traditions and our cultures. And there should be that emotion around. There should be an emotion of happiness and calmness around food. And when you have women who obsess about their weight, they're not comfortable eating. They're not happy eating. They may look like they're happy and they'll be eating and this kind of thing, but something's going through their mind. They're guilty. They're feeling like, wow, why did I just eat that? Why did I just drink that? And that isn't a healthy relationship to have with food, okay? Because you should never ever feel guilty about what you're eating, and there's always a balance. So to have these things on occasion, to have a time where you're going to go to a wedding, where you're going to be in a gathering, and you have something that isn't entirely great for you, but you have it that day. It's not going to harm you. You're not going to suddenly put on piles and piles and become obese. That's not going to happen. Okay, alhamdulillah, we have an amazing body that can really bounce back. So when you're talking about continually pounding it with ultra processed food, then that's a different story, right? So it's all about moderation. And this is what's important. Right. So let's not also forget that some women, and I'm not banging or speaking ill about women who have naturally lean figures, or they're naturally muscular. Alhamdulillah, some have that. And there's also some women who need to put on weight, and that is a big issue for them. Okay. But let's not obsess about losing weight in a really unhealthy fashion, where we sacrifice not only our physical beings, our well-being, our mental health, our fertility, and possibly good health, all in the name of trying to create perfection, in inverted commas, that society has sold to us. Okay, so I'm really appreciative of everyone that's jumped on this evening. I'm coming up to rounding up now, because I know that many of you are busy on this Saturday evening. It's family time, but I'm so appreciative of those who have jumped on live via Zoom, and also in my Clubhouse room. For anyone who wants more information, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. I'm going to put Jazakallah khair, Mahmoud. I really appreciate your little comments there. I really enjoy coming on here every Saturday evenings and just giving you a little roundup of things that are beneficial to women. So if you want to reach out to me via Instagram, then this is my handle, Healthful Wellness Coach. And just to reiterate, I am having a 5-day reset, inshallah, which will be the second week of March, which will be a pre-Ramadan one. This is going to be an opportunity, inshallah, for the ladies to really make this their best Ramadan ever. You're going to take steps to realize just how easy healthy eating can be. Small little tweaks here and there. I've had sisters jump on and really benefit. They've had weight loss, they've had more energy, they've felt lighter. They've done really, really well. And these are busy women. These are women who are breastfeeding. So it's absolutely supportive of pregnant and breastfeeding women. These are sisters who are working in busy environments, hospitals, schools, this kind of thing. and they were successfully able to carry out just 5 days and achieve an amazing transformation. And speaking to them a couple of weeks later, they still had that with them. And this is what I'm hoping for the sisters in the pre-Ramadan reset, to move away from, you know, all this fried food that isn't going to really benefit you. And inshallah, I'm going to be doing a little summary on why it's important to have this kind of refresh of the body before Ramadan comes in, because we know fasting is such a brilliant way of us cleansing our bodies. And alhamdulillah, look how perfect our religion is. So, you know, it's just a shame for us to waste those days where we've had no food and drink for the daylight hours, and yet in the evening we just kind of fill ourselves up with things that don't serve us, where it could be such an amazing opportunity to cleanse ourselves for that month. And, you know, it is a blessing that we have to really realize, because there was a study carried out and it examined why a lot of people in the Middle Eastern countries didn't suffer from cancer. And one of the reasons that was mentioned was because of their 30 days of fasting in Ramadan. So look at that, alhamdulillah, how Allah has protected us. So, you know, I really think it's important. And I know it takes steps, right? But you can do this, inshallah. You can make this your best Ramadan ever, right? And that's not to say, okay, you know, cut out the samosa and pakora for the rest of the Ramadan and never ever have it again. No, but let's try and limit it, inshallah. So this is why the pre-Ramadan reset is going to set you up, inshallah. It's going to keep you focused. It's going to help you to feel amazing and make you realize, hold on a second, this is how I want to feel for the rest of the month. This is how I want to feel during Ramadan, so I can really, really stretch myself in ibadah. Because look, none of us are guaranteed another Ramadan. You know, we ask Allah to reach it in safety and good health. I mean, for all of us and our families. So let's make the most of it. You know, this is a blessing from Allah, from us. And let's thank him. You know, let's thank him for the month that we have, and really, really strive, not just with our ibadah, but looking after our bodies and preserving you know, this amana that we've been given. Okay, Mahmouda's question: when we breastfeed, I feel like a lot of us are juggling with feeding the baby, losing sleep, yep, which is in turn affecting our appetite. How would you advise here? As soon as baby is 2, is it advised to wean off breast milk from a holistic nutrition point of view, or should we try and breastfeed them until a certain age? Okay, I mean, even Islamically, there is something where you have to look at the baby's actual age, and if it does go beyond, as far as I know, then inshallah, you know, it's not a problem. I had varying kind of with my girls. One of them, I know I only breastfed till around 9 months. Another went to about 14, and then 16, and then my youngest, she was way over 2. She was probably close to around 3. So it just depends. Like, look at the child, you know, see how you're feeling. Yes, it is difficult. The lack of sleep is absolutely draining. But, you know, I used to co-sleep with mine, and that helped. So definitely look at what's easy for you, and look at things where you are actually consuming a very nutrient dense diet, because you are obviously expending a lot of your calories and giving a lot to baby when you are breastfeeding. But yeah, it's not an easy time, and Allah make it easy for you. But inshallah, you know, once the child reaches a certain age, then, you know, you can look at, you know, in terms of weaning, if they're ready for that kind of thing. But you really have to kind of judge it, because each child is different too. I mean, like, for example, mine, they never ever took the bottle, which was problematic for me, because when I did want to wean them, it wasn't anything that was very easy to do. And some people in the holistic sphere would kind of say just carry on. But like I said, you have to kind of look at yourself, look at your baby, and make that kind of decision from there. So I hope that answers your question, sis. And like I said, anyone who would like to jump onto that reset, you can send me the word reset. You can send it here in the chat box. and I will add you inshallah to the waiting list. We've just actually finished a 5-day reset with a small group, and it was amazing. You know, the sisters really enjoyed it. You know, some of them, they were like, wow, this is really out of my comfort zone. But like I said to the ladies, look, you know, nothing grows in comfort zones, okay? So sometimes we do have to make ourselves used to feeling uncomfortable to really grow. And, you know, with support, like I said, I will be on the program with you. I'll be supporting you through the 5 days. And I can guarantee, inshallah, bi'idhnillah ta'ala, you will feel amazing, inshallah. You'll be surprised as to actually how much you can achieve and how simple it can be. So if that's something that interests you and it's something that you really want to give a go, you know, you're at that point in your life where you're like, you know what, I need to do something with my health. And ladies, look, it's always better for us to start taking steps now. We have the strength, we have the time, you know, we have the ability, rather than being in a situation where we are compelled. Okay. And, you know, from our deen, prevention is better than cure, right? So instead of being in a situation now where you are sick, where you've got an illness, you know, and now you're thinking, hey, you know what, actually, I do need to do this. And it's a struggle now, and you know, you're pushing yourself. Let's not wait for that. You know, Allah protect us all and preserve our health upon safety and good health for all of us. I mean, you know, look after yourselves now, strengthen yourselves now, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. You know, and like the hadith says of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 2 blessings that people don't really take heed of or take care of would be health and free time. Okay, so this is why I'm so passionate, and this is why I come on every Saturday evenings without fail to be here to support you ladies, and you know, to give you insights into how simple it can be. You know, many women don't realize a little thing like improving their sleep, and you know how much of an impact that can have on their whole day, right? So I appreciate everyone jumping on every evening. I've seen some familiar faces, you know, ladies that are here every week, and I do appreciate that. May Allah bless you with good in this life and the next. And if anyone has any further questions, then I'm happy to answer them. And if not, then we'll be signing off for the evening, inshallah. I appreciate everyone being here. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.